Hi folks, happy Wednesday. Today's target is to be able to count the number and type of all different elements in a compound. Let's go over a couple of examples. Okay. So this is aluminum oxide. We've seen it in class before. Let's take a quick moment and make sure we understand how to count the atoms in this particular compound. Because there's a subscript 2 after the aluminum, there's 2 aluminum atoms. And because there's a subscript 3 after the oxygen, there are 3 oxygen atoms in aluminum oxide. Makes sense. Okay. So what if we had something like this? How many atoms are in this particular molecule? And what type of atoms are in this particular molecule? Let's go over it. So you'll remember that since there is no number after magnesium, it's just one magnesium atom. Since there's no number after the P, it's just one P. And since there's a 4 after the oxygen, that means there are 4 oxygen atoms. Okay. Again, not too crazy. Let's go over a few more practice problems. All right, so let's just say we have something like this. Okay. So with something like this, we not only have a subscript, but we also have a coefficient. So effectively, this coefficient 2 means there are 2 molecules of Na4Cl. Okay. This is the exact same thing as this right up here. That's what that 2 represents in front. Okay, so if we have 2 Na4Cl, how many Na do we have and how many Cl do we have? Well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Na, and we've also got 1, 2 Cl. Okay, let's just kind of double check our work real quick. So if we've got 2 Na4s, 2 times 4 is 8. And 2 times kind of like an imaginary 1 is 2. So we've solved this problem correctly. Let's try a practice problem. How many carbon atoms are in this molecule, and how many oxygen atoms are in this molecule? Let's go over it. So there are 3 groups of CO3. So if we were to just draw this out, CO3, 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 we'd have 1, 2, 3 carbon atoms, and we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 oxygen atoms. All right, let's check our work. 3 times 1 is 3, and 3 times 3 is 9. A big common mistake that some people make on this problem is that they think carbon and oxygen are the same element. They think that it's cobalt, okay? It's not. The difference between cobalt and carbon and oxygen is cobalt is a capital C, lowercase o, and carbon is a capital C and oxygen is a capital O. And that's a very important distinction because if we had 3CO3, we would have 9 cobalt, right? Okay. let's talk about our last type of problem. What can happen when we're dealing with very large atoms that have coefficients and subscripts? How do we work with that? So let's just say we had 4 Na2 SO4 3. Woosta! A lot of stuff going on in this problem, but we can always break it down. So one of the things that I always recommend doing is writing out however many of the molecule you have off to the margins, at least as a way to check your work. So we've got Na2 SO4 3, we've got Na2 SO4 3, and we've got Na2 SO4 3, and one more, Na2 SO4 3. Oof. All right, so this makes it a lot more manageable, and we can count our atoms much more easily. We've got 2 Na, plus 2 is 4, 6, and 8. So we've got 8 Na. Okay, so how do we deal with these parentheses? What does that parentheses mean? Well, the parentheses basically means we've got 3 groups of SO4. So there's 3 S's and 3 O4s in one single molecule of this particular type. Okay? So that's going to be 3 sulfur plus 3 more is 6, plus 3 more is 9, plus 3 more is 12. So we would have 12 sulfur. What about the oxygen? 3 times 4 is 12, so 12 plus 12 is 24, another 12 is 36, and another 12 is 48. We're going to go over a couple more of these challenge level problems. We're going to be seeing them a lot in the upcoming weeks, and I want to make sure you can do these, because if you can do this particular problem, you can do all of them. All right, so first things first, our coefficient 2 tells us there are 2 molecules of Ca2NO33. Let's put that over here. Nice. All right. So the calcium's, that's pretty easy. The Ca is pretty easy. It's just 2 plus 2 is 4 calcium, right? And a great way to check that is 2 times 2 is 4 calcium, okay? Here's the tricky part. How many nitrogen and oxygen do we have in this molecule? Let's go over it. So we've got 3 nitrogen atom in one molecule. So we're going to have an additional 3 nitrogen atom if there were 2. So that's 6 nitrogen. And a great way to double check that is just 2 times 3 times 1, effectively, right? 2 times 1 times 3, it's still going to be 6. All right, and with the oxygen, 3 times 3 is 9, plus 9 more, it's going to be 18. And we can double check our work. 2 times 3 times 3 is also 18 oxygen. Let's try one more problem, just to make sure that it's making sense. Go ahead and solve this problem. All right, now that you've had a chance to solve it, let's see if you're right. Let's see if we can figure out, if you're not right, how do we get to the right answer? So, first things first, per usual, I'm going to write out this compound off to the sides, because that helps me just visualize all of the different kinds of atoms that are at play in this particular problem. Okay, so there we go. We've got 2 NH43s, PO4s. Wonderful. So let's count our atoms. There's 1 nitrogen in NH4, but since we've got this 3 in parentheses, outside of the parentheses rather, we're going to multiply that 1 nitrogen by 3. So there's 3 nitrogen in 1 molecule, and since there are 2 molecules, we'll multiply it by 2. So 3 plus 3 more, 3 times 2, is 6 nitrogen. 4 hydrogen in NH4, since there are 3 NH4s, that's 12 hydrogen plus 12 more is 24 hydrogen. Okay, we've got 2 phosphorus. This is a 4, by the way. I can make that a little bit more distinct. There you go. 2 phosphorus, and 4 plus 4 is 8 oxygen. Let's go back and double check our work. 2 times 1 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4 times 3 is 24. 2 times 1 is 2. And 2 times 4 is 8. Cool. So that's how we count the atoms in molecules, simple and complex. This is a very important target. We are going to be counting atoms in molecules for the next week and a half. So if you need more practice, I'm going to post a link that'll take you to a website or a worksheet or something that'll get you the practice that you need. Sounds good. Thanks, folks. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.